Good morning, everybody, or good evening, depending on where you guys are at. Welcome to the DCKAP eSessions for 2021. This is our February edition, and we'll be talking about how we went live with Cathy's concept. So looking forward to this event. We have an awesome lineup of just all the partners that were involved with the process of the Cathy's concept website. So Cathy's Concept is a premier customizable gifts provider that sells items ranging from travel, home, wedding, and other related product lines. Information related to new orders, product details, real-time inventory, and customer information were to be manually transferred from one application to another. This was one of their biggest pain points with their site. Orders placed in BigCommerce had to be manually entered into Distribution 1, and the latest information on inventory and product details from Distribution 1 had to be updated manually into BigCommerce. Cathy's concepts require the automation of data entry related to orders, products, inventory, and other key business data from and to their ERP and e-commerce software. So today we'll be going over the case study with some of the partners who were involved with this project. I'd like to have a big shout out to all the sponsors for Distribution 1, from BigCommerce, and from DCKAP Flores. These are the guys that will be speaking today. So, and with DCKAP, we're really big in community, and we love to bring the ecosystem together. So all these different companies, they have lots of skills, and they're very good at what they do. So if there's anything that we could do to help to even connect you guys to the right technology partner, do let us know. You can reach me at timothyd@dckap.com. So that's Timothy and then D as in David at dckap.com. Next, I'd like to bring up Catherine Sulskis. She works with the marketing team at DCKAP as the partner manager, bridging connections, finding ways to co-brand and co-market our solutions, and building lasting relationships with our partners. So she works to ensure that our partnerships add value to the community and to expand the partner ecosystem. So I'd like to bring up Catherine, and then also like to bring up the rest of the panelists too, Bijal, Adam, and Praveen, as we kick off this Q&A session.
Great, thanks, Tim. Glad to be here. And as Tim said, I work closely with managing our partnerships, as well as helping with our events and bringing our partners together to join us and sharing our experiences like this. Today being with Distribution 1 and BigCommerce on the Cathy's Concepts project. And we just had the honor of hearing some great presentations on, most recently with Praveen and Cloris, and some great points have been made. So thank you everyone for that. And I'm joining on now to propose all the questions for our speakers and guests. So we're going to have Praveen stay on and then kindly invite Adam and Bijal back on to go over these questions. And we'll talk about some of the successes of Cathy's concepts and the integration and how these strategies support B2B. So I'll go ahead and I'll start off with Praveen to elaborate a little bit on the presentation you just gave. So Praveen, you did talk a little bit about Cloris and the role it played in Cathy's concept project. Could you walk us through some of the implementation process? Specifically, how long does it take to go live, as well as what platforms and specific systems that Cloris supports?
Sure, Cathy. So with respect to the implementation process and all of that, so yeah, so we have a pretty simple implementation process, I have to say. So, and again, it depends in terms of what we are trying to integrate and all of that. The time frame differs, but then on average, we see a time frame of around 6 weeks for integration to go live. And with respect to the process, so yeah, initially we do the onboarding. So we have a checklist in terms of what we need in terms of access and all of that. So yeah, maybe in the next, as part of the first week, so we make sure that we understand the requirements and we also document all of them. And once that's in place, and we also have all of the fields which needs to be mapped between both these systems, and then we get started off with the work, and then we also provide weekly status updates to the customers, and yeah, and then that's pretty much how we go about it. And as part of the go live, so we have a checklist in terms of what is required, what is required from Distribution 1, and as part of BigCommerce, what are things that is required, and then we go live with our customers. So that's pretty much on the implementation process, Cathy.
Great, thank you. That's really helpful insights. And then Adam, I'll go over to you. Could you talk to us a little bit about the platform from an API perspective and the available integrations for BigCommerce?
Yeah, so we have 5 different APIs really that we allow you to integrate into. And we actually have a really good trainings on all these APIs and really good logs that developers can review. But the ones that we allow you to kind of build into, we have our storefront API that allows you to build a better storefront and create a very unique experience using a custom CMS or a custom tool that of your choice. A catalogs API that allows you to learn to efficiently build and manage and maintain large, complex product catalogs. We have our checkout, our orders API, and as well as our Stencil Essentials. Stencil just being the front end design framework that's built into the platform that allows you to build sites on top of within just kind of that Stencil command line, which is a coding language that is not unique to us. It's actually very easy to learn for any developer that knows how to use just basic HTML. But all our BigCommerce is really built with these, again, the open SaaS is the idea is that if you are using an internal tool like a distribution one, we have a marketplace with applications and several of these integrations are just one-click integrations that will allow you to build these different site tools or connect these different tools into your site. But if we do not have one of those different applications available, you can easily build custom code using our API or middleware that's going to allow you to integrate those 2 systems. Or as many systems as you'd like, I should say.
Great. Yeah, that's definitely good to know, certainly to have that capability. And Bijal, I'm going to go over to you for the next question. How important was inventory management and order processing in the case of Cathy's concepts? And how did Distribution One cater to improving that process in particular?
Just specifically in the case of Cathy's concept, they had a lot of different avenues that they were dealing with. Specifically, they were working with a lot of big box stores, doing a lot of EDI where they had some stock promised to specific customer on specific date. And these were big box stores, so they had to deliver without chargebacks and things like that. So there were a lot of different aspects to it. When you switch to the e-commerce platform, it's as first come first serve basis kind of thing. So you have to, whatever you're displaying, you have to fulfill because you're taking payments ahead of time and things like that. So a lot of complexity goes on into it. So just the process streamlining was very important. Managing the inventory. Hey, how much of the inventory do you show? Do you create a certain specific warehouse for the items that you want to display on BigCommerce so you have guaranteed stock versus the other customers like Amazon or Walmart that you're dealing with where they have specific actual store requirements you have to fulfill. So it really comes down to complexity on what the customer needs, how many avenues they're dealing with. BigCommerce could be just one instance they're integrated with. They might have the other e-commerce site that they sell with that under a different branding. So those kind of things come into play. So that's why we have real-time syncing available where you can call inventory and pricing on demand if the system allows you to do it. So that was kind of something where DCKAP uses that API, a plugin that we have available for a lot of different instances where you can just specify this item from this location, how many do you have right now? And as you submit those orders into the system, it commits it against those. So it gives you the kind of some of the peace of mind where, hey, the order was placed, it's going to be guaranteed stock. Some of the other kind of nuances that they come up with as you go through the workflow processes, entering them manually, specifically in Cathy's concept, they do a lot of personalizations, for example. So in that scenario, how do you go about bringing that into the system from BigCommerce? So there were a lot of different workflows that we went through, and we kind of helped them accommodate through with working with DCKAP on there. So.
Great. Yes, streamlining is important, as we know. Praveen, let me go back to you then. and just talk a little bit more about Chloris and that piece. And I understand that Chloris supports real-time and batch-based synchronization. And could you provide some guidance on choosing between them?
Yeah, absolutely. So with respect to Chloris, yeah, we definitely support the batch-based or the schedule synchronizations and the real-time synchronizations. Yeah, so to start off, I just want to give some insights on what both imply, right? So with respect to real-time, it is going to be in terms of, so whenever a customer is querying on the BigCommerce platform, for instance, so at that point in time, we access the API as Bijal mentioned. So, and then get maybe the pricing in real time and showcase it to the customer, or the inventory in real time and showcase it to the customer. And a batch-based synchronization could be something more in lines of the product data, which gets updated maybe once in a day. So based on how frequently they're updating the information. So that's the difference between both. And with respect to choosing between both, again, it's a trade-off, I'll have to say. So, and with respect to a real time, so again, we need to be looking at if it is really required at that point in time. We look at a real-time synchronization, maybe a pricing, because with respect to pricing, that could be a lot of pricing tiers within distribution one. And maybe if we are trying to replicate the same behavior within BigCommerce, it might not be effective utilization of resources of maybe BigCommerce as a platform. So it is better to kind of query that information and bring that over if required. But then, yeah, if those are minor stuff which is available, you could still maintain them within BigCommerce itself, right? So it depends in terms of what you're trying to accomplish in here. But then with respect to the product data and all of that, yeah, so that could be in batches. Maybe it could be synchronized once in a day, or even in some cases, once in a few hours based on the customer's needs.
Right, yes, definitely. Okay, great. You go over that particular detail for people. And then let me go over to you again. Why would you say integration is so important, and how helpful is Chloris to that effect in our partnership with Distribution One?
As far as the integration goes, it kind of comes down to the requirements, the manual effort customers have to do, maintain multiple different systems. It kind of becomes redundant, error prone, and a lot of different issues that kind of come along with just human intervention with a lot of projects on there. As far as what we kind of strive for is ERP has a lot of flexibility where you can store a lot of data that you might store in some of the content management system, but you have the ability to store all that. And where there are certain checkboxes in our system where you can trigger that, hey, I'm ready to send this item to the website. All you have to do after you have submitted everything, you hit a checkbox that's yes, send it as a web item on there. And when the Chloris pulls that data, that item becomes enabled on the Chloris on the platform. So you don't have to go in and type those, upload those images again somewhere else. So it's kind of one-stop shop kind of to do those. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. You don't want to be maintaining a lot of that. It obviously increases overhead. Multiple people trained into multiple different aspects of it. So you want to keep it as kind of low as possible in that side. As far as at the second part of your question, how has Chloris helped us is, I've been doing this here for 8 years now. So I've seen customers go through where, hey, I'm trying to integrate something and they will just focus on one thing on there, where they just say, I'm just trying to do this. But my ask of them always been, hey, think 5, 6, 10 years down the line, if this is successful, how you're going to accommodate other things that you want to do. Keep in mind where technology is going, where it's changing. In the past, you were just dealing with big box stores directly. Now hey, you have to be competitive on Amazon. You have to be competitive on your own e-commerce front. So that's where Chloris has been a big kind of partner for us. So anytime that we get an integration request, I'm pretty confident in saying, hey, we have a partner in DCKAP who has a tool called Chloris, where they have pre-built connectors for certain things that you need, but they will help you grow as a product. So you just connect once and you can kind of spin it off into Amazon, eBay, BigCommerce, other different integrations. So that's been the biggest selling point for and a kind of comfort factor on our side with DCKAP on there.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and I think that's a great point. Thinking ahead to the future a little bit, something to certainly consider. And then Adam, I'm going to go over to you with the next question. If you could tell us a little bit about SaaS and why B2B distributors in particular should care about it.
Sure. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let me know if you can see the slide I am sharing.
Looks like it's loading. There you go.
Cool. And can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. So what is SaaS? SaaS is simply it allows you to focus on your core business. So really, why SaaS? It allows you as a distributor, or as any company really, to focus on what you do best, being that core business that distributes products, sells B2B. Focus on your sales, your marketing efforts, and the things that are really going to help you grow your business, and not focus on really being a technology or a data company that has to do a lot of the things that we just do for you. So kind of taking you through a chart here, I found this analogy. I shared this with Tim and Cathy last week, and I thought was pretty hilarious. But if we were thinking about this from the perspective of pizza as a service versus software as a service, a traditional on-prem system, you're basically doing everything yourself, right? Everything from the dining room table to putting the cheese on the pizza, that's all managed by you. You have to probably have a whole internal IT department or someone that you're paying to run that on-prem system. When we move into like infrastructure as a service, that's when you're talking about taking away some of that, the cooking supply or the tools that you would use, like the dining room table, the drinks, the electric, the oven, the fire, and really the infrastructure as a service would address things like you'd have to worry about things like the pizza dough, the tomato sauce, the toppings, the cheese. Platform as a service gets a little bit less, but then SaaS, that's everything. We're managing everything for you. And just to compare here, I have an actual real chart that kind of reflects the pizza analogy. So again, for on-prem, you're managing everything from applications to networking. Infrastructure, you're managing applications to the operating system. And then we jump over the SaaS. All of that is stuff that we're managing for you and allowing you the time to focus on just growing your business and doing the things that really matter and aren't distracting you from increasing sales, connecting with your customers, doing the things again that are going to drive more revenue and not be, in some cases, a time suck for your business.
Great.
I hope my pizza analogy made sense for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you so much for sharing the analogy, because I definitely think it helps in a lot of ways to break that down, just the specifics like that. So very helpful. Thank you. And you can probably pull that back if you'd like. All right, great. And then Bijal, I'm going to keep going with you in terms of the distributors and manufacturers. Can you tell us what are some of the most common pain points for distributors and manufacturers that you see that Distribution One can solve for?
So that's kind of it's not really a one-size-fits-all answer for everybody, but you can kind of imagine we have customers that will range from, let's say, a smaller mom and pop shop that's outgrowing their old QuickBooks systems, coming on to something new, where they might just need, hey, we need help with inventory management or something like that. So our software is not module based by any way. Once you buy our software, you get the whole package, where whether you use it or not, that's the kind of where we shine the most on there. So it helps you grow your business for the most part. We have seen customers who've been like with Cathy's concepts in 2007. They're started with a smaller firms. As they grow the business, our software can help them adapt to the changes with the needs that they have. And that's where a lot of people that's where we differentiate ourselves and kind of help them, where we have we have the content management, we have the CRM, we have the mobile apps, the order entry side, we have our own eCommerce solution for B2B side of the stuff. So it really kind of hits a lot of different aspects. Some of the pain points I would say is just depending on it was probably a mom and pop initially kind of running certain things, managing books outside the system, to where training them, trying to, hey, how to use the right technology. So we have a full implementation cycle to where, hey, we can train you on certain technologies. When you get to it, if you decide to go the e-commerce route, we have a full department. Hey, these are the options. So we kind of help them guide through, make decisions on which technology partners to partner with and things like that. So that's where we kind of shine, where you're not on your own. We're in this together. That's the kind of a family environment for us specifically. And we do a lot of users conferences almost about every 18 months, to where customer gets to learn all this new technology, get to see what's out there, where technology is going. And that's where we can kind of help them. And that's when till they see it, they don't realize, oh, we could be doing this, where is it automating the warehouse. We were just picking everything off of paper before. Can I use my cell phone, or things like that? So there's a lot of different things people can do, and that's where we can kind of step in and help them with all those pinpoints on there.
Great. Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point too. Certainly things are modernizing in processes, and making sure that they're aware of that and educating them is certainly an important part of that. All right, and then Adam, let me go over to you then for the next one. How are you seeing B2B customers change or adapt in terms of e-commerce?
So really what we're seeing is a trend more towards, so first of all, millennials are becoming, are getting into positions where they have the buying power inside of companies. And if you think about millennials, a lot of millennials are internet first shoppers and consumers. Even from the way that they are, even if you think about their customer journey, they are doing their research for products as much as they can online. Millennials do not like to speak on the phone, and I'm grouping here, but this is largely true, and I can speak to this to some extent because I'm in that generation. We like to do as much research as we can online, and even if we can easily purchase online, we prefer that over having to speak to a representative. So B2B customers, B2B distributors, and B2B companies, it behooves them to adopt to the natural customer journey that the millennial follows, because that's a very familiar process. We also are seeing from a B2B shopper perspective that they're using more site tools and site technologies. They're going to make that buying journey shorter. So we even partner with a technology company that uses augmented reality. And there's our B2B use cases like manufacturing equipment that needs to specifically fit in plants. And they need to understand if this manufacturing equipment is going to fit. And of course, they can read the specifications, but having a visual augmented reality view of that equipment inside of a plant is much more helpful for some buyers, as a lot of us are very visual learners, myself included. The other thing that we're seeing across pretty much all B2B sites is personalization is king. So with Cathy's concept, being able to personalize that buying experience, even the pricing to particular customer types, is going to create a better buying experience and more streamlined buying experience for that individual buyer. It's also going to speed up just the total time of transaction, because you aren't going to have to go back and forth, get that person custom pricing. They can just do that all from the site directly.
Yeah, great insights. I think it also speaks to that modernization that's occurring. Awesome. And then Praveen, I'm going to bring, I guess, the final question in that same realm over to you in regards to B2B. What would you say is the value that Chloris brings to the table for B2B customers?
Yeah, I guess it's a loaded question. So for sure. So with respect to Chloris, so yeah, it has multifold benefits in terms of the value it brings to the customers. The first and the foremost being the reliable synchronization, so which means that the data is flowing between multiple systems in a seamless fashion. So you need not really look at what information is going in, and you need not have a person just looking at this information being processed between the multiple systems. So that is one of the biggest value add that I see that Chorus brings to the table. And the second one I would say is the dependence on the developers on an ongoing fashion. So with a solution like Chorus, so it makes it easier. So you just have it implemented, and you can have complete peace of mind, right? So even if there is some issues or anything which crops up, or even if there are new upgrades that are coming up. So with a platform like Chorus, so we keep upgrading, so which makes it easier. So you're not dependent on a developer to keep up pace with the upgrades with respect to BigCommerce or distribution one in this particular case. So that's those are two major benefits that I would say in terms of the customers as value adds. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that's going to wrap up essentially what questions we had. I really appreciate the insights into everything with Cathy's concepts in regards to the strategy and your insights into B2B as things are modernizing and moving ahead in the industry. I think we had a lot of helpful information out there for people, so hopefully they can use that and contact us, each of us, if needed on anything further. And I didn't see any other further questions in there, so I'll go ahead and bring Tim back on and just say again, thank you, Adam, Bijal, and Praveen for the great discussion.
Cathy.
Thank you, guys. That was great. Yeah, that was a great discussion panel. I love the pizza analogy, so made me a little hungry as well. But great illustration.
Thank you.
So again, I'd like to just thank all the sponsors with all the speakers as well. So from Distribution One, from BigCommerce, and for Chorus. That was a great informative session. And just upcoming, we'll have our next eSession on March 9th. Right now, it's still TBD on who's going to be presenting, but it's going to be in reference for one of our case studies as well. So that's pretty much all we have today. And just thank you again for all of our speakers and for the attendees as well for joining. Hopefully you found it informative, and look forward to having the next eSession on March 9th. If you guys don't have any questions, we'll see you guys then. So talk to you guys soon.